Rob, the Great and Terrible.
Hi guys, welcome to Amateur Hour here at DistractionAction. I'm your host, Action. Two things real quick. You know there's always got to be like one or two things real quick. It's called foreplay. You guys are going to laugh, but it means enough to me to say something about it. I'm currently sitting at 20 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Why are you laughing? I know 20 is not a lot compared to, you know, people got thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. I got 20. But 20 for a regular guy, or irregular, depending who you ask. 20 for me is like 1,000 to them, you know? That is 20 people that have said, yeah, all right, I'll tag along. Let's see where this goes. I'm in. So I do appreciate that. I feel like I might lose one or two along the way, but maybe they will stick around. Who knows? We'll see. So, thank you. Honestly, thank you. Stick around, don't stick around. You subscribed. I do appreciate it. The other thing, and I was debating whether to say something or not say something, and I said, well, it's probably not a good idea to say something. Some things better left unsaid. And that made me say, okay, well, yeah, you're going to say it. It's my MO. My heart's not in it. This, today, the video, anything. My heart's not in it. Perhaps one day I'll talk about it. Just know that if I'm telling you I can't talk about it, you know, it maybe involves other people or involves an ongoing situation. Maybe it's something at home. Maybe it's a combination of those things. Everything's fine. I promise it's fine. It's fine enough. Okay. Eventually I'll spill the beans. Just not now. Suffice to say, my heart is not in it. I've tried to shoot this video actually like 4 or 5 times already. The phone's ringing and it's conversations I can't avoid. I need to have those conversations. Cats and dogs are fighting with each other. I'm stumbling over my words, etc., etc. And the only reason why I'm telling you is because you might watch the video and at some point you'll suspect that my heart's not in it. And why suspect? I'd rather just tell you up front and let you know. Plus, maybe it feels good just to say it, admit to it, right? So, but I am a Gemini. I am two-faced. They say it disparaging, you know, like it's a bad thing. But I've got at least 2 faces. So, here's the real one. There you go. But we got a show to put on. We're looking for a distraction. You're looking for a little bit of entertainment. So, let's do the thing. So, I can put on a fake face and we can get the party started. Deal? Alright guys, today, top 5, dead or alive. It's been coming for a while. I've talked about it, but I haven't talked about it. Today we're going to talk about it. And the reason why I'm doing it now, 2 reasons. I advertised that I was going live on Facebook. And I said, hey, what do you guys want to talk about? You know, who's going to tune in? And what subject matter should we cover? and like nobody showed up, which I was kind of surprised because I've gone live other times and I've done other things and people generally come out. Nobody was there. I said, man, how? No wonder why they all run away. Afterwards, I get a couple texts, I get a couple messages, oh, I didn't know you were going live. If I knew, I would have been there. And oh boy, did you talk about this? Did you bring about that? You should have talked about that. Come to find out, I think I put something on Facebook, the entire world sees it. That's not the case. So I got to do a better job or find a better way to let people know. With that being said, one of the things that came up from a few different people, they wanted to know if it did top 5 dead or alive. It also occurs to me, I have a book. You may have heard of it. It's called DistractionAction, Volume 1. That book is full of, I wanted to say full of shit, but I'm not going to say that. It is full of confessions, secrets. It is full of sadness, anger, desire, unrequited love, death, resentment, regrets. It's heavy. It's heavy. The section of that book, Top 5 Dead or Alive, is not heavy. It is refreshingly light. There's no subliminals. There's no reading between the lines and, ooh, what did he mean? And, oh, where did that come from? And, oh, was that a real nightmare you had? And whose kitchen is that? And there's none of that. Top 5 Dead or Alive is what it is. It's my top 5 MCs, dead or alive. It is, for once, what it is. And it occurs to me that if I'm going to do anything at this point in time, I would like to do something light. I would like to do something not heavy. Let's do this top 5 dead or alive. I don't know that we'll get into any of the rappers today. I don't want this video to run too long, so we may break it up some. What I do want to talk about today is hip-hop. I'll talk about specifically my love for hip-hop, okay? And I kind of also want to get into top 5 dead or alive. Like, what is that? Why do some artists qualify? Some artists, in my opinion, wouldn't qualify, etc., etc. And the next time we start to get into the rappers, okay? I said I only had 2 things. I got 3 things. I've been drinking too. Try not to like burp on camera and fall apart on camera. But just fair warning, because I'm stumbling over the words a bit. I hear myself. I have been drinking a bit. I'm sure it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. So, hip hop. I've always loved music. I know you can't tell by looking, but I am actually a bit of a nerd. I know what you're saying. Oh, it's always the gorgeous ones, but yeah, I'm a bit of a nerd. I don't know. I say nerd, maybe it's just passionate. What I like, I really like. What I want, I really want. What I care about, what I love, what moves me, inspires me, motivates me, etc., 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 really does those things. I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. I'm in or out. I don't do gray. I don't do halfway. That draws people in. That also pushes people away. Hence, losing subscribers. I loved music before I knew I loved music. When you're a certain age, your musical tastes are defined by your parents. Maybe you have an older brother or sister, and they hip you to something. Maybe an aunt or an uncle, but it's always somebody older than you. And it's always somebody they expose it to you. You're not gonna find it, more than likely, on your own. And I'm talking the age of like middle school, okay, or shortly before middle school, fourth grade, fifth grade, right around there, okay. So I'm listening to what my parents listen to, and I like it. My dad would listen to the oldies station on the radio. I don't know that they have this anymore. I know they've got classic rock stations, but what he's listening to is a little more Beatles, Stones, the Monkees, the Turtles, any band with an animal in the name. Maybe not Rat, but or the Scorpions. But he's listening to that kind of stuff. At home, listen to a lot of doo-wop. Doo-wop. I don't know that I would classify doo-wop as soul music per se, but it's a precursor. That kind of exposed me to that, or primed me later on when I discovered soul music. My mother had an ear for pop music, so think Fleetwood Mac, think ABBA, those kind of old bubblegum hits, anything British Invasion, that kind of stuff. She'd listen to songs in Italian. She'd listen to Pavarotti. She'd listen to classical. She listened to a lot of Motown. That also primed me for soul music. I'm, Smokey Robinson. My mother would listen to Marvin Gaye. So there was a little bit of soul music growing up. My dad, huge Van Morrison fan, as am I. And I understand he's Irish white. But that's soul music. I don't care, I don't care. You listen to Caravan, when those horns hit, that's soul all the way. I know soul music because I know. And it was just certain things that even as a kid I couldn't quite define, I couldn't quite explain, but the feeling was there. I knew it. It might be parts of a lyric. I remember the first time I heard Fleetwood Mac's Tell Me Lies. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. I sing too. I write, I sing. Renaissance man. And I remember even as a kid obsessing over that little bit of lyrics. This sounds incredibly corny, but it's incredibly true. But I remember as a kid, I'm in the back seat of the car. I remember. And so confused, like, my mom and dad say, like, I shouldn't tell a lie. But these people are advocating lying. These people are saying, like, no, I want you to lie to me. Why would they want you to lie to them? Years later, I get it. Yeah, you gotta lie. Oh, tell me you'll stick around forever. Tell me, boy oh boy. Tell me whatever it is you're gonna tell me to keep me for a little bit, I didn't know what it was at the time, but listening to like Simon and Garfunkel or Fleetwood Mac, and they're singing at the same time, but somebody's voice goes a little bit higher, somebody's voice goes a little bit lower, and it sounds beautiful to me, and I love it, but I don't know what that is. Years later, I know, okay, that they're harmonizing. That's harmony. As a kid, I fell in love. Now there comes a time, eventually you'll get to discover your own musical taste. Somebody will inevitably buy you for Christmas or your birthday your first little radio or your first stereo or your first Walkman or CD-man, or nowadays I guess, iPod or whatever. Spotify subscription nowadays, God bless whoever does that for you, because they're giving you a gift you're not ready for. Like you don't know the gift that you're getting when they gift you music. That's the gift that keeps on giving. Sure enough, my dad, for Christmas, went all out. Got me a stereo receiver, a dual tape cassette deck, and a 3 or 5 disc CD changer, and 2 bookshelf speakers of pretty good quality. My dad used to sell high-end audio equipment, so he knew his stuff. I'm in. Now I listen to what I want to listen to. Problem is, I don't know what I want to listen to. I just want to listen to what they've been listening to, because it's all I know. That's all I know. Around the same time, I'm getting ready to enter into middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Okay. If I say I grew up in the hood, you're going to say, well, that sounds corny. What do you know? You know, it doesn't sound right when I say it. If you come and see where I grew up, you would say I grew up in the hood. I'm going into middle school, and so again, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Each grade has 2 homeroom classes, 25 kids to each class. This was a magnet school, Park City Magnet. So 50 kids per grade, if you're doing the math. Out of those 50 kids, 2, maybe 3 of us are white, and I'm one of them. Okay, that ties in. Just let me get there. Not only am I white, I'm nerdy white, which is a very distinct color of white, but I'm also poor white. I'm not white trash. Don't you dare. I'm not white trash, but I am poor. My parents did an amazing job with what they had. No complaints. But I also know my parents didn't have a lot at that time. Okay. So when I tell you I stand out like a sore thumb, because I did. I couldn't fit in. I don't understand all the slang. I don't understand. There's things I just can't relate to. Maybe it's the food. Maybe it's the way certain things are being said. Everybody around me, black, Spanish, a little bit of Asian. We don't dress the same. I can't even afford the same clothes that they're wearing, the same brands. My brand sneaker at that time was no name, like no brand. We didn't have Nikes, like I didn't have Nikes. I just had my shoe had like a straight fucking check mark. There was no swoosh. It was just check. Okay? I don't fit in. I stand out, and more than anything, especially at that age, you want to fit in. I had a few friends. All my friends, black, Spanish, a little bit of Asian. I've always been girl crazy. Always. My thoughts on women. I love you, women. But that's the age where you really, come on, you really start to want girls. The first girls that I was attracted to, black, Spanish, you guessed it, a little bit of Asian. I needed a way in. I didn't know how to. We had nothing in common. There was nothing to discuss. I was a little bit of a class clown. That was working. But I needed something more. I hear the conversations around me. I hear what everybody else is talking about. Oh, they're talking about hip-hop. So, I got this brand new stereo. let me tune in. Let me tune in to Hot 97. If you don't know what Hot 97 is, what's the matter with you? So radio station now in New York. It's where hip hop lives. Okay. I remember falling in love with Angie Martinez from listening to the radio. I didn't know what she looked like. I just from hearing her voice every day, I had a crush on Angie Martinez. Don't tell her. You could tell her, but don't tell her. I said before, I'm in or I'm out. I'm all in if I'm in, and discovering hip hop music was no exception. Either we didn't have internet back then, or if we did, it was dial-up, it was slow, and I think there was only like 2 websites in the entire world. So what am I going to do on the internet? So it's not long before I'm stuffing tissues into the top of a cassette to record over, and I'm recording songs off of the radio. But I want to know what they're saying. I want to be able to quote it. I want to be able to know it. I want to be able to understand it. I need to know the words. So I would play the song off of the cassette tape. Get a couple of words or a couple lines in. Write them down. Stop the tape. Write it down. Rewind the tape. Run it back. A couple more lines. Stop the tape. Wind it back. On and on and on until I wrote out the entire song. Verse, chorus, hook, whatever. I wouldn't write down the curse words in case my parents found it. Well, on the radio, there'd be no curse words. From this, first of all, whatever I was writing was full of errors, okay? Because, again, there's slang I don't understand. Brand names start to get mentioned in hip-hop, and I don't know what those things are. What's a Movado watch? What is that? Nah, dummy, Movado. Oh. Is that like Casio, or what is that? I don't know. But from writing so much, now I'm memorizing this stuff. And I've conditioned myself to be able to memorize lyrics. I've conditioned myself. I'm stumbling over my words here. Blah, 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 blah. I've conditioned myself. I kind of know. I don't know. It's hard to describe. I kind of know what words they're going to rhyme before I hear them rhyme it. Like when I hear a new song I never heard before, I kind of have an idea where they're going with it. I start to really learn the music, so to speak. So much so, now I'm into it. I love what I'm hearing. Okay. Now I got something to talk about. So now I'm able to start conversations. I'm able to jump into conversations. Couple that with my class clown persona, I'm in. Girls, I'm talking to them. Girls, are talking back to me. Wasn't long till after I started writing my own raps. The raps that I would write raps like Weird Al writes songs. They're parodies. It's meant to be funny. So I would take somebody's thing and I would completely just like same flow, same cadence, same everything, same rhyme scheme. Even kept the rhyme schemes the same. But I would just change it around, make it mine. We need more alcohol. I'd make it mine, my own lyrics. So, as an example, 7th grade, I performed in class a rap I wrote. I think I'd taken, might have been Regulators. I took that, made my own words, and it was a song, can't believe I'm sharing this, all about blunts. Confession, I don't even know what a blunt is. I know now. I didn't know then. All I know is I kept hearing it in other songs, and every time I say it, every time I rap it, everybody's laughing, everybody's, cheering me on, and all the girls are looking like, oh my goodness, is he talking about? He's so bad. I get a reaction. Blunts, 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 blunts. It did what I needed it to do. So, hip hop to me, from that young age, I like it. I like what I'm hearing. And it's useful. It's an in for me. Do you understand? Have you ever had something like, yeah, you like it, but it's not very valuable, or it serves no purpose, or you're not able to use it? Or, conversely, you're using something because you kind of have to use it, but you don't really like it. And I can't think of an example because I've been drinking and not sleeping. But I'm sure you can think of an example and put it in the comments below. Going into high school, I stopped writing parody raps and started writing, quote unquote, real raps. The first time I heard Tupac, man, I didn't think about it till I started shooting the video, but first time I heard Tupac, it was on the radio, and it was Papa's song off of the album Strictly. And I couldn't relate to the subject matter. If you know the song, you know. And if you don't, well, you got Google. Come to know it. I couldn't relate to the subject matter, but I could relate to the artist. If you had asked me back then, like, well, how do you describe yourself? What does any kid say? Like 6th, 7th, maybe 8th grader. What do they say? They don't know, I wouldn't have known, but I know the feeling. I know how I feel. I know what's inside of me. Even at a young age, I know my heart. I know my soul. I know my mind. And I hear these things mirrored back to me when I hear Tupac. I hear a passion. I hear a joy. I hear an anger. I hear a want. I want something more. I think I was always chasing that feeling as I was writing. I can't do punchlines or metaphors. My brain's not wired that way. Whatever it is, the same way I write now. Okay, if you've read the book, it's confessional. It's saying maybe what's better left unsaid. That's one way to look at it. Or it's saying something what I deem to be real, to be honest. I was always kind of chasing that Tupac way of doing things. Alcohol. I was always trying to write the song. I was always trying to write the Tupac song, Changes, before I even heard it. That's what I was going for. Years later, I heard the song. I said, yeah, that's it. I quit. I can stop now because he did it. But that's what I was going for. So I know I've always gravitated towards hip hop music. Once I started getting a little money, I started buying hip hop music. Now I got it with the curse words in it, which at the time was like a big deal. Like, oh shit, they said shit. And the thing that struck me was like, you could say anything. And I know this sounds crazy now, but I didn't realize, like, I didn't know. Like, I remember Lauryn Hill on The Beast off of the Score album. She says something about Newt Gingrich, something disparaging. I didn't know you could do that. Like I didn't think you could talk about other people. I didn't think you could talk about a political figure. I didn't think you could disparage or talk bad about a well-known political figure. You can do that? Because I'm not hearing that shit in the Beatles. I'm not hearing that shit in the Stones. I'm hearing that from Lauryn Hill. Also, I had a crush on Lauryn Hill. Hip hop, I don't know. Either you understand by now, or you don't. And if you don't, I can't make you. It's a feeling. It's a vibe. It's just, I don't know. I love the music. I love what it stands for. I love the culture behind it. I love what it can be. I love the potential of hip hop. Okay. So, that brings me to my top 5 dead or alive. You know, this is a common trope in hip hop. Everybody always talks about it. I feel like it was, first time I heard it, it was Jadakiss bringing it up. Top 5 dead or alive. It's the first time I remember, you know. And again, we're not going to get into the rappers today. I wanted to give you that background, okay? And I want to talk about what classifies top 5 dead or alive. You could be a good rapper. I know lots of good rappers. I know some personally. They're good rappers. To be top 5, you gotta have something a little more. You can't just be good. You gotta be great. The album can't just be like a real solid album, a real solid effort, a good album. It's gotta be a classic. You're separating yourself from the rest of the crowd. Classics, classic song, classic album, maybe an iconic music video, maybe an iconic award show moment. To me, in order to be top 5 in hip-hop, you have to transcend hip-hop. All the artists that I'm eventually going to talk about have to some degree or another transcended hip-hop. Okay. They have made their mark. They have made their mark on music. They have to some degree or another made their mark on culture. They have made their mark beyond, you know, hip-hop. Okay. Real quick story too, because somebody told me I needed to bring this up. My mind's, I told you, I'm not here. One of the things to do, I thought everybody did this, but apparently not. One of the things to do was in like 7th, 8th grade, and I did a couple weeks as a freshman at the high school before we moved to the valley, okay? But the thing was, you would have a CD player, like a Discman or a Walkman, in your book bag, and you'd have computer speakers plugged into the headphone jack. So essentially you had like a little boombox in your backpack, okay? And your popularity could rise or lower depending on the music that you had playing. The hotter the song, or the more well-respected the song, the more rare the song. If you're listening to something good that not everybody else is listening to, you got it made. If you listen to something corny, or if you listen to something, you know, or somebody might start asking you about it, and you don't know, like you're kind of faking it. Like, well, I got the music playing, but I don't know shit about any of this. Okay? So, I knew my music because I genuinely loved my music. So I remember walking through, and at that time, a lot of people were playing stuff off of Me Against the World. It Was Written. Still had some stuff from Life After Death. I think the Jizz's album was out, Liquid Swords. Some people were playing that. Make sure I got my timeline right, but you know. I came through playing a song off of Busta Rhymes' album, The Coming. It was his first album. And it was a song, it was Flipmo Squad meets Def Squad. And it's Keith Murray, it's Redman, it's Lord Have Mercy, it's Rampage, you know, Jamal. There's a couple people on that record. One of my favorite Redman verses ever. The way Red comes in, what he does, and the way he comes out. And I had that playing. It was like the first day of high school. I did like a week or two there, and then, you know, we'll talk about it shortly. We moved to the Valley. And I come through, and I never forget, and I thought I was dressed cool. I probably looked like an idiot. I'm kind of starting all over. I don't, you know, there's a lot more kids. And there's a lot more women. And I'm, you know, I kind of getting that feeling like you don't fit in again. I remember there was a group of guys, they were older guys. They had to be, my guess, sophomore, maybe junior. They had mustaches, so there's no telling how old they were. They heard it, and I see them kind of looking, and then one of them kind of does the head nod. And I do the head nod, but I fuck it up. I'm like, you know, like I'm having a neck spasm. But I knew I was in it. I got the head nod. I got the head nod from older kids. I'm in. Shortly after this, we moved to the Valley. If where I was living was the hood, the Valley is the complete opposite of that. Okay. Now I'm starting high school. I didn't know, but I came to find out quickly. I'm not even going to say predominantly white. I'm going to say exclusively white. Okay. And I'm giving myself the pep talk like before the first day in that school. I said, all right, you know, I'm trying to amp myself up. I said, okay. It's a new town, new year, new school. It's a new you, Rob. Get ready. Shit's not a joke. It's not a game. This is your year. This is high school, son. It's a whole different thing. You're going to be doing drugs soon. Maybe. The girls. These aren't 8th grade girls. These are high school girls. These girls have breasts. Some of these girls are sexually active. Don't you want to be sexually active? Here's your chance. You're dying. You don't know it yet. You're dying to be sexually active. Trust me. You got to go, make an impression. You. This is all you, buddy. So, what do? I bring out my best, which actually is my worst. I got some real baggy South Pole jeans. I got a bright neon, hurts your fucking eyeballs to look at it, yellow Nautica jacket, windbreaker. I think I might have had the orange Wu-Tang shirt by then. I show up. I'm scoping it out. Okay, it's a bunch of white women. That doesn't appeal to me, but they do have breasts. This is not 8th grade. This is, man, oh man. And I do what I've always done, what has always worked for me, and what I thought everybody does. I get the speakers in the backpack. I bring out the big guns. Mobb Deep. I know. Bold choice. But I know what I'm doing. Let's bring out some Mobb Deep. I'm walking the halls, like in slow motion, like, you know, I'm the coolest fucking kid ever. Except I'm not. I see breasts everywhere, and I'm cataloging them. Like, all right, I got to talk to her later. I'm going to meet you. And I hear from very far away, but it's very loud. I hear somebody screaming, "Turn that N-word shit off." When I tell you I melted, when I tell you I collapsed into a puddle on the floor, I know at least one of my subscribers has seen me melt. Um, my mind was blown. This sounds really silly now, but back then, I didn't think you could do that. I didn't think you could use that word in public. Hand to God, or the devil, or whoever's watching over me these days. I didn't think you could do that. I fully expected somebody was going to call 911. Hey, he just said that word. Cops were going to come, arrest him. This kid would either, at the very least, he would be expelled, if not deported from the country. I swear to you, I'm embellishing a little bit, but not by much. I really thought that you couldn't do that. I thought there would be hell to pay. I thought at the very least there'd be a bunch of other kids like, ooh, and he'd be in trouble. A couple of the other kids start laughing. They agree. Shut that shit off. I learned a very hard lesson that day. My innocence was lost that day. I didn't become sexually active that day, but life fucked me that day. I haven't been the same since. I don't know why I told that. I don't know why I told that story, probably out of context, but again, no sleep, alcohol, broken heart. What do you want from me? I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope this has whet your appetite. Like, next time we're going to get into the MCs. If you've read the book, well, you kind of know. But if you haven't, and judging by book sales, you probably haven't. I think it'll be good. Again, I'd ask you, like, subscribe, but more than anything, comment. Who's your top 5? And why? Have you had any of those experiences? What was like your first day of high school? What was your kind of little trick to fit in? How did you break the ice? How did you, have you ever been there where you feel like you don't belong, but you want to belong? That was the other thing too. I'm all over the place. Excuse me. It's a horrible video. What do you want? Coming into that new school in the valley was culture shock. But it was my, quote unquote, culture. I'm surrounded by white kids. I don't understand their slang. I don't understand the way they dress. I have never seen these brands of clothing. I don't get it. What? And here's the crazy thing. When that dude dropped that word, I was offended. I got mad. I was like seriously offended. Like, how dare you talk about me and my people that way? I swear to God, that's what went through my head. Being around all these white kids, it was culture shock to me. And I thought that worth mentioning. I don't know if you guys can hear it. The fucking cat is meowing at the window, and it sounds hellish. It sounds like a demon. My anger being what it is these days, I just want to throw something at the window and break the window, but I don't want to do that on camera. So, now's a good time to stop. We'll do this again soon, and we'll get into the rappers. In the meantime, comment, like, subscribe, or don't. Who cares? But I would love if you did. So until then, this is DistractionAction saying I'm a mess. See ya.